welcome back. We're heading over to the monument of Fethiye. It's the guy that the town was named after. I should say city now. He was a pilot, one of the first pilots in Turkey.
Fethiye was killed on a mission, probably something to do with the First World War. Fethiye was originally called Tel Messos over 2,000 years ago, but it's been called Makri for over 1,000 years. The name changed from Makri to Fethiye in 1934 in honour of Fethiye.
Kolay gelsin. If you want a boat trip, this is the place to come. You can go to the 12 Islands, or you can go to Göcek Market.
You can book the day before, or you can turn up on the morning. Most of the boats don't actually leave till about 10:30, so it's a good idea to come early-ish in the morning and have a look which boats are absolutely packed. If you're not much of a sunbather, it's a good idea to make sure there's plenty of shade on board. They all serve alcoholic drinks on board. They're a little bit pricey, but not over the top. And make sure you've got your snorkel and goggles. The 12 Island trip will cost you between £5 and £12, depending on which boat you get on and the quality of their lunch. Now we're going into the Fethiye fish market. Fethiye fish market has become famous because you can choose your fresh seafood caught that day, and it's cooked in the restaurant of your choice, actually in the market. They charge a fee for this, of course, but you choose how it's cooked and what it's served with. It's a unique experience which is very popular with locals and tourists alike. After paying a £5 entry fee, you will be surprised at the amazing artefacts in this small museum. Many are from the ancient Roman and Lycian archaeological sites within about 30 miles of Fethiye. Some of the more recent additions are from Tulos, the ancient ruins at Yaka, which I'll be covering in a future programme. Most of these artefacts are between 1500 and 3000 years old, with the exception of this beautifully carved lady from the front of an old galleon, thought to be about 150 years old and retrieved from the sea locally.
Fethiye Museum is a fascinating place to visit, especially on a rainy day. When you're travelling around, you might come across these trees. They've got very fine little leaves, like, can you see them? If you squeeze the leaves and then smell your hand, it's black pepper or red pepper. And if you look carefully on the tree, you'll find clumps of red peppers, and you can pull them off and crush them up at home and use them in all your cooking. Great, isn't it?
You may come across these pelicans when you're around the promenade. They flew here by mistake a few years ago and never went home. They're often found at this pool in a seafront restaurant because they feed them. But they are free.
Right, we're off on a little cycle ride. Now the place we're near to is the Forestry Commission depot, where they cut the wood from the forest. They take all the bark off, they stamp it all up and cut it into lengths, usually 3 metres long. So we've come a little ride up to have a look at their depot. The Forestry Commission in Turkey have a fabulous programme of replacing every tree that they cut down. So there's no deforestation. And actually the forests are very healthy and very well managed. The depot is also where they keep not only the stocks of wood, but they keep their firefighting equipment. Their helicopters are here too. What they do is, if there's a forest fire, there's lookouts on every mountaintop, little houses where people who work for the Forestry Commission, they actually live there with their families. And they keep an eye out with binoculars, watching all day for any fires that start up. Then they instantly radio to base. The helicopters take off, and off they go with their big ball of water, which they usually get out of the sea or any lake, and fight the fire that way. In the meantime, they've all rallied up, got the firefighting guys all ready in their little wagon, and they're up to the fire as well. So it's pretty well established.
The leftover branches that are trimmed off and left in the forest are sold cheaply to the locals living close to the forest in quotas of so many sitar per family. That's cubic meters to you and me. They use them for their firewood in the winter or for their greenhouses. This stops them being tempted to cut trees down out of the forest for which there are very heavy penalties, including prison.
Also in this area is the dog and cat shelter. Local Belvedere and volunteers, some of them British and other nationalities. And this is the entrance to the Hayvan Bakım Merkezi.
Unwanted dogs and cats are muted, treated for rabies, tagged and returned to the streets. The dog side is mostly funded by Fethiye Council and donations, but the cat side is only supported from donations, and the workers here, mostly foreigners, are all cat-loving volunteers. If you'd like to make a donation, there is a PayPal link on their Facebook page. And you'll find that AA Fethiye Sokak Kedileri Hastanesi, which is quite a mouthful, so that's why I've written it down.
But basically, street cats they take, get neutered. Dogs, if there's dogs that are injured, or cats that are injured, they take them in. Some of the cats end up here. Generally they have a field of foster carers who then take care of them until they recuperate and then get rehomed. So.
The other thing that a lot of people are not aware of is there is actually a go-karting track. It's a little way out of Fethiye and Chalish, but you'd have to come up on a bus or get some sort of transport up here. You can cycle it, of course. Amazing place. And there's no one here. Merhaba.
There was one guy there looking after the place, and I asked him when this place was built, and he said it was built in 2008. Apparently it belongs to one of the owners of one of the tourism company, and it only gets busy at the weekends, but it is open in the evening. If you give him a call beforehand, make sure he's here. Mostly people come up here in private cars or sometimes in little minibuses.
Come on.
Apparently there's only 4 cars.
These are pretty fast as well. They're obviously not little kids' play toys.
And finally, I can't come to Chamkuri without mentioning it's being developed as the Further Education Centre for Fethiye. Numerous schools, colleges and even a sports hall. And all this next door to a beautiful clean water reservoir, which is almost a nature reserve.
The local Belvedere, that's the local council. They've implemented a recycling program and cleaned up all the streets in Fethiye. They've got these little 3-wheeled motorbikes, which are like small dustbin lorries, if you like. And they have places all over the town where you can put recycling. They're one of the first towns in Turkey to actually do recycling. Unfortunately, the villagers don't understand that when you throw rubbish in the rivers or streams, that the rubbish carries on down to the sea or becomes someone else's rubbish further down the river. All their lives they've been throwing rubbish in the local streams and rivers, and it's difficult to change that.
Of course, it's not just the villagers that create rubbish. Unfortunately, the Belediye have got people to clean up after them.
Nice kurabiye.
After chatting with her and establishing that it was called a rubbish bicycle, or çöp bisikleti, says she works from 7:30 in the morning till 7 at night and only has Sunday off. There's something else fabulous about these little vehicles. They're actually solar powered. If you look on the roof, which is above her head, it's actually covered in solar panels.
One of the reasons I do my commentating on the bicycle is nobody can interrupt you unless they can run really fast. I tried walking and everyone follows you or starts pulling faces in your camera lens. So I decided to get on the bike and do all the talking on the bicycle as you're going along, and then no one gets in your way. Çekiyorum vay.
In part 5 in my series, we'll be visiting the ancient ruins of Tulos, which is in Yaka Köyü, that's Yaka village, on the foothills of Akdağ, a mountain 10,000 feet high.